going live, and you are looking live. It's sold out Giants Stadium, where today the 15-0 New York Giants are taking on the 0-15 Green Bay Packers. Why the Green Bay Packers own 15? Because they suck and they can't win in London. That's why. And welcome to the Gridiron, everybody. It's a good day to be a Giant fan. Before I get started, I just want to say, anybody spends any time at all watching me here, thank you so much. Or anybody spends any time watching a replay of this, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. In the description box, there's also, if you want to help out my channel, there's also a link. You can join my channel. There's some special perks and all that goes along with it. There's 3 different levels, so you could check that out. But if you want to help out my channel, help it grow and all, everything, I greatly appreciate it. And please feel free actually to, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. So the next time I got a video coming out or whatever, right, you'll be notified and all. So thank you so much. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to go about 30 minutes here. Anybody wants to put anything in the chat box, like Giants are number 1 or anything like that, you go right ahead. I check the chat box from time to time. Right? As I said, I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes, shoot my mouth off here. Whew, boy, I'll tell you, man, when it was like 17-3, I'm like, oh, man, this is, obviously, we just seem like we just, keep coming. It's just like, man, we're going to be able to stop them. And then they got the field goal right at the end of the first half, and so they got 20 points. I'm like, man, are we going to hold them under 30? I mean, are they going to get, they're going to get 40 points on us? I mean, man, if they get 30 to 40 points, it's like that. I don't see that. We're coming back for that. Nothing. I'll tell you what, boy, whatever. That's one of the things, what great coaches do. Okay. They make the, changes like maybe on the fly, but like at halftime, they see what the other team is trying to do, and you have to make changes, right? And sometimes, you make changes, and you make the right changes, kind of like what happened today in London. Green Bay didn't score a point in the second half. I mean, they did the same thing against the Bucs too, as well. They scored 14 points in the first half. They almost had 21 points against the Bucs. I believe they fumbled the ball like inside the 1-yard line. They were going in. So, I mean, they could have had 21 points. But in the second half, they didn't score a point against the Bucs. And they kept Brady and the Bucs in the game. They couldn't come back. It was 14-12. But, I mean, it was kind of the same thing here. I mean, the Packers moved up and down the field, like 200 yards in the first half and 20 points. They had like 100 yards of offense in the second half and no points. I mean, you got to give them, it's simply amazing. Now, I'm not saying it's going to, I hope it does. Don't get me wrong, but it's hard for it to continue. I mean, you figure there's like a point in time where the Giants, had like Adoree Jackson was out. He got injured. Aaron Robinson, he's hurt. I don't know if he'll be out for the season or not, but he's hurt. So like our top 2 cornerbacks weren't there. Azeez Ojulari wasn't it. Like maybe our first or second best edge rusher wasn't playing. Leonard Williams wasn't playing, right? And one of our best defensive line, and then you look at it, it's like our top 4 wide receivers aren't playing. I mean, you go around the league, all right, and I can't stand the Eagles, and they got lucky today. The guy missed a field goal, which would have tied the game up and sent it in overtime. I can't stand the Eagles. So you go to them, all right. You take away their top 2 cornerbacks, take away Bradbury and Slay. Take away like their first or second best edge rusher. Take away their best defense, like maybe Cox or something. One of the real good guys in the middle on defense. Take away DeVonta Smith. Take away Brown, and whoever other their best 2 wide receivers, not tight ends, but wide receivers are. Take their top 4 wide receivers, and Jalen Hurts can't throw to those guys. All right, and let's see how many ball games they wind up winning. All right, I said you go around the league, do that with anybody, right? So you go to the Cowboys. Cowboys won today, right? Take away their top 4 wide receivers. Take away, Lawrence, right? Take away their 2 best cornerbacks, right? Take away, right? Just see how many ball games they wind up winning. Right? Simply amazing. And then when Saquon he dinged up his shoulder, right? Missed the series, came back out, and then he came back in, right? I mean, just the Giants, I believe I got an article here, but I think it was like 5 possessions in a row the Giants scored on. I mean, it was just simply amazing. Absolutely simply amazing. We got, what do we got here? So the Giants, this is from CBS Sports. The Giants get an A+ for an upset in London. Steelers get an F they looked horrible against the Bills. And I tell you what, the Steelers are lucky to even won a game. They really got lucky the first week of the season when they beat the Bengals. Everything that went wrong in that game went against the Bengals. I mean, the Steelers, like everything went right for the Steelers that game for them to win it. So the Steelers were lucky to even have a win. But here we got the Giants have been to London 3 times, and all 3 times they've actually won. Okay. And it's the first time ever. I found it shocking. I did this in my video last night. I found it shocking. It's the first time ever that in London, I mean, of course, in England, that they've had 2 teams play against each other that both have a winning record at the same time. I mean, I found that rather shocking. I mean, we're trying to put, football on display, and it seems like all we keep doing is putting losing teams over there. It's but on paper it didn't seem like the Giants were going to have much of a chance to beat the Packers on Sunday, but the Giants clearly didn't read the paper. In front of a raucous crowd, which it was. I'll tell you what, the crowd there in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, they were engaged. That was a good crowd. Absolutely. The Giants were able to steal a 27-22 win in a game that no one thought that they could win. Not only did they go into week 5 with a banged up starting quarterback, but they were also missing several key receivers. Their top 4 receivers that weren't in there. Said you go to any team in the NFL, take away their top 4 wide receivers, and let's see them win football games. Good luck. Right? And to be honest, it was actually worse than that. Here's what the Giants were dealing with this week. I mean, it was unbelievable. They had 7 guys out. Daniel Jones had his ankle. They were without Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard, Kadarius Toney, and Wan'Dale Robinson. Leonard Williams and Azeez Ojulari were inactive, right? So their best defensive lineman. I mean, maybe Sexy Dexter is up there as well, too. But Azeez Ojulari, okay, were inactive, right? Adoree Jackson left the game. So their top 2 cornerbacks were out. Their first or second best edge rusher was out. Pretty much their best defensive lineman was out. Okay, and they still somehow beat the Packers. Right. With his option limited on offense, Giants coach Brian Daboll decided to throw the kitchen sink at the Packers. He devised a game plan with offensive coordinator Mike Kafka that kept the Giants' offense one step ahead of the Packers' defense for nearly the entire game. I mean, there was a Darius Slayton sighting. We're out there beating them with Richie James and Chris Myrick and Bellinger and Slayton and Sills. I mean, we had Gary Brightwell in the game. I mean, like, we're beating teams. I mean, what? Crazy. The Giants saved their most unique play for the red zone. Yeah, I tell you what, their first touchdown of the game. It was. I got a video of it right here. I mean, it was like Daniel Jones. I mean, who Daniel Jones? Let's see here. Daniel Jones. Barkley, another end around. Jones to Barkley to Bellinger, who gets into the end zone. I mean, it was just absolutely unbelievable. That score was huge because the Giants were losing 17-3 at the time, made it 17-10, put them right back in the ball game. Okay. Then in the second half, the Giants were even better on offense, scoring on each of their first 3 possessions. A big reason that they're able to do that was because of the play of Saquon Barkley. After briefly leaving the game in the third quarter due to a shoulder injury, Barkley stormed back on the field to come up with 2 of the biggest plays of the game for New York. First one came on a short crosser from Jones that Barkley was able to turn into a 41-yard gain. Right? Then 4 plays later, Barkley lined up in a wildcat formation on a play where he ended up getting in the end zone for what ended up being the game-winning touchdown. Man, I'll tell you what. And then the Packers got the ball. They started marching down the field like Aaron Rodgers. Oh, man, we got Aaron Rodgers. Oh, man. He's marching them down the field, marching. Oh, man, I don't know. We're going to be able to hold them out. I'll tell you what, it was unbelievable. Barkley carried the ball 13 times for 70 yards on a day where he gashed the Packers defense with 5.38 yards per rush. Although Barkley was great, you could argue that the Giants' offensive MVP was Jones, who came up clutch for his team despite playing on a gimpy ankle. Jones was nearly perfect, 21 out of 27. I know Barkley dropped the pass. I mean, it could have been even better than that. He also rushed for 37 yards on that gimpy ankle, which probably surprised the Packers, who didn't look like they were really expecting him to be able to run due to his injured ankle. One big play from Jones came in the third quarter on a 3rd and 3, where he kept the drive alive by running for 4 yards on the quarterback draw. He also tried it right after that too, and it wasn't quite as successful. But the Giants are now 4-0 in a season for the first time since 2009, and there's no reason to think that they can't keep winning. They didn't just prove that they can play with the big boys on Sunday. They proved that they're one of the big boys by knocking off the Packers. Not only did they go on the road, I mean, they were both on the road, but not only did they knock off the Packers, they went on the road and they beat the Titans too in Tennessee. Okay, so that's no easy feat either. All right. The Giants might also want to start volunteering to play in London more often now that they're perfect. And that's right. And they've made the playoffs in every year where they've played overseas. 2007, 2016, hopefully 2022, right? 3-0, hopefully, maybe possibly all 3 times going to the playoffs. All right, let's get to the grades for every every game. All right, well, I'm not going over that. Okay. But for here, they gave them grade. They gave the Giants an A+, okay, and they gave the Packers a C-. Right. Apparently, the Packers forgot to pack the second half game plan for the trip to London. Yeah, it was like the tale of 2 halves. It was kind of like what happened in Tennessee, right? Tennessee was up 13-0 at half. It's like, oh my God. I'm like, oh, the Giants going to even score a point. Maybe we can get a touchdown. Maybe you get, the Titans will score 20-something. Maybe we get double digits. Maybe we get a touchdown. Kept hanging in there, and pulled it out in the second half. Same thing here. Simply amazing. That is funny. We got from Big Blue View. All right. There's a bunch of, very impressive stats here. I mean, you got to figure what would the Giants had on the field. Okay. I mean, what they were able to do. This is from Big Blue View. All right. I have to admit this. When the score was 17-3, it looked like the Giants were going to play hard, but simply not be able to keep up with the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, it was just like they were just walking down the field, scoring, right? And they got this 20 points at halftime. It's like, oh, geez, And then we got, let's see, they started in the second half. They started doing things that we have not seen the Giants team do for a long time, right? The Giants went 11 plays, 86 yards for a touchdown with the 1:15 left in the half. The first touchdown they have scored in the final 2 minutes of the first half since 2020. All right. Now, 11 plays, 86 yards, with 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th string wide receivers in there, right? Giants scored on 5 straight possessions, beginning with that score. No Saquon. No Saquon Barkley? No problem. Unbelievable. After Barkley went out in the third quarter, the Giants went on a 15-play, 91-yard drive, took 8:07 off the clock, touchdown drive that tied the score at 2020. Simply freaking amazing. A break went the Giants' way. What? When a Green Bay punt banged off of Jason Pinnock, which it did. I mean, it was just, hit him off the back. He didn't see the ball, but everybody was saying, get out of the way, get out of the way, get out of the way. And it just hit him in the back. The Packers did not recover that one. Instead, the ball rolled out of bounds at the Giants' 40-yard line. Well, it was also another one. I mean, the Packers got a break too because was it on a kickoff? I believe the Giants forced a fumble. The ball went flying in the air. Of course, it went flying right in the air, right to a Packer, of course. So the Packers got lucky there too, right? Then with Barkley back, he and Daniel Jones engineered a game-winning touchdown drive. The Giants then got not 1, but 2 stops against Aaron Rodgers to seal the victory. The first was a brilliant pair of plays from the Giants' 6-yard line when they got back-to-back stops to deny Green Bay the game-winning score. Then Oshane Ximines denied Rodgers an opportunity to throw a Hail Mary with a game-ending sack fumble. Oh, yeah, that was freaking beautiful. I mean, because the thing is that he was scrambling around, and to throw the Hail Mary, it's just you're not flicking your wrist. See, I mean, the unbelievable thing about Aaron Rodgers is he could be like running, rolling out, and just flick his wrist, and the ball can go, 20, 30 yards like on a dime. You can't do that with a Hail Mary. Hail Mary, you got to, pretty much, you want to be pretty much planted, right? I mean, maybe he can throw it if he's running forward, but, if he's planted, right, he's got to lean back, cock the arm, and then, so that takes a little bit of time. And as he was trying to do that, just letting him go to the ball, that's when the X-Man got him, right? Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now, of course, then the Giants are 4-1. They went 4-13 last year, right? So they already won as many games in 5 games as they did all last year, all right? Then I got here, Daniel Jones deserves props. Yes, he does. Oh, absolutely. I mean, what he was able to do. Let's just get this out of the way. Kudos and wet woolies are posted on Monday morning. Jones will have a kudo. If you could watch Sunday's game and somehow tell me he doesn't deserve one, I think you have a problem. Jones had a nice enough numbers. He passed for the season high 217 yards, going 21-27. He had 100.2 passer rating. He ran the ball 10 times for 37 yards. Right. His value to this victory, and in all honesty, to the Giants' 4-1 start, go beyond those statistics. Now, I'll tell you what, it's he's starting to get, laying his claim to to the starting job next year. So just imagine what he could do if he had some healthy wide receivers, right? Just imagine. So, I mean, he's starting to lay his claim. I mean, you can start seeing him get maybe a little more and more comfortable as the games go by, a little more comfortable with, the offense and all and everything. So he's starting to lay his claim. So maybe the Giants, perhaps, Daniel Jones haters out there, but perhaps the Giants may not be looking for a quarterback in next year's draft. So, which, I mean, it goes both ways, which is a good thing because, if the Giants continue where they're going, they're going to be picking in the 20s and they're not getting a starting quarterback. I mean, they're not going to get one of the stud quarterbacks when they're picking number 22 or 23 or 20 or whatever. That's not happening. So, instead, they can pick themselves maybe a stud wide receiver, one that might actually stay healthy. What a concept, huh? He can use a weapon. He can really use a weapon. Let's see. And then obviously, of course, you got the next man up, right? This is supposed to be a building Giants team without a lot of depth. On top of an already perceived lack of depth, Giants keep losing players to injury. Somehow it keeps not making any difference. I mean, it's freaking crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. You got Gary Brightwell smashing his way in from 3 yards out with his first career touchdown. I mean, Gary Bright, no Sterling Shepard, no Kadarius Toney, no Wan'Dale Robinson, no Kenny Galladay. Darius Slayton has a 6-catch, 79-yard performance. It gives him ammunition to all of those who have been calling for him to play for several weeks now. Oh, and Marcus Johnson pops up from the practice squad with 3 catches for 35 yards. Very impressive. And there's this too. I mean, no Leonard Williams or Azeez Ojulari. So what? Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, Jalen Smith, Oshane Ximines, and a host of others on the front 7 more than got the job done. Down Aaron Robinson, already losing Adoree Jackson and Fabian Moreau during the game. Simply unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. How the Giants cannot ever catch a break as far as the injuries. Simply amazing. And then you got like the Eagles, right, who play a game against the Cardinals, and I don't think anybody even got a hangnail for the Eagles. Simply freaking amazing. The Giants finished with Nick McLeod and Justin Lane at cornerback, and we were able to keep the Packers out of the end zone. I mean, simply amazing. And both made plays, fourth quarter plays to contribute to a victory. Absolutely freaking amazing. Let's see. We got everybody talks but we don't do things during the week. We put guys in 7-7 with some of our practice squad players along with our regular squad players, Dave will say. I think the coaches do a great job of getting them ready to go. Absolutely. Absolutely. We got Cinderella slippers. Let's not get ahead of ourselves and start thinking Super Bowl here. Oh, no, don't. What we got to do right now is start thinking about the Ravens next week. It's going to be a tough game. Ravens, tough football team, very well coached. Lamar Jackson is a freak. Very good running game. That's going to be a tough game. That game, we can definitely use Leonard Williams back without doubt. Okay. Let's see. The Giants won in week 1 when Randy Bullock of the Titans missed a game-ending field goal that would give the Titans a victory. But then again, as I said, let's not forget Daniel Jones throwing a red zone interception on a back shoulder pass to Saquon Barkley that got intercepted. If he just threw that ball away, we kick a field goal. We wind up winning the game. So I'm not so worried about that. All right. But then the Giants survive a scare. I think every Giants fan holding their breath when Barkley left the game with flexing his right arm in the third quarter. Yep, after serious injuries in 2019, 20, 21, Barkley has finally looked like the Barkley of old this season. When he went off flexing his right hand, it wasn't going to happen again, is it? We were going to see Barkley miss time with a shoulder or collarbone injury. Were we? Giants put together one amazing game-tying drive without him. Simply amazing. The only star we had on the team, pretty much, and we did it with Myrick and Bellinger and Richie James and David Sills. Put those guys on another team and see how many points the other team score, right? Give those guys to the Eagles. Let's see how many points the Eagles score, right? So, I mean, just simply amazing. And of course, then we can just look at some of these stats. I mean, it just really, really, really simply amazing. I mean, it just, I don't know how you could possibly even, I don't know. I mean, dream this stuff up, right? I mean, the Giants had more yards than the Packers. They had more first downs. The Giants somehow had 24 first downs. They had no wide receivers. Saquon left for a drive. I mean, Packers only had 22 first downs, right? Giants with 6 out of 11 on third down. Somehow they held Aaron Rodgers to 4 out of 10 on third down conversions. Simply amazing. They both had the same amount of plays, but the Giants had more yards. The Giants had somehow 338 yards. The Packers had like 200 yards at halftime. They wound up with 301. So somehow the Giants held the Packers to like 100 yards of offense in the second half. No points, 100 yards of offense. The Giants averaged 5.7 yards per play. Giants somehow outpassed the Packers. The Packers have their starting wide receivers out there. I think they might be missing maybe one. I think they're missing one guy, but pretty much their full complement of wide receivers are out there. Got a Hall of Fame quarterback out there. We're missing our top 2, 3. Well, Cordell Flott wasn't there, right? Aaron Robinson, right? Adoree Jackson, right? And we somehow outpassed the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. Yards per pass were 7.6 yards. We held Aaron Rodgers to 5 yards per pass attempt. Let's see. Daniel Jones, you know what I mean? There was no turnovers. Clean game. There was a couple of fumbles, but, neither team lost a fumble. But Daniel Jones kept the ball out of harm's way. No fumbles on his account. No interceptions. Clean game. Very good game. Right? But once again, we need to point this out. The Giants are the only team that has 5 games who do not have an interception. The thing is to win the game. Doesn't matter what the stats are and all, but turnovers can be huge. An interception, either stopping another team's drive or giving your team the ball on the plus side of the 50-yard line is huge. Getting turnovers is huge, but the bottom line is win the game. And did the Giants win the game? Yes, they did. Absolutely. The Giants were 3 out of 4 in the red zone, right? The Giants actually had the ball for 32 minutes and 11 seconds. The Packers had it for 27-49. We outrushed the Packers, right? 125. We had 31 rushing attempts. Very, very good. 27 passing attempts, 31 rushing attempts. Very, very, very balanced, right? 4.0 yards per carry, okay? And the Packers had 4.7, but the Packers only had 94 yards rushing. And they managed to do that, okay, without Leo the Line in there, right? So if we can get Leo the Lion back, it would be absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. What do we got here? Box score. Okay, I want to go over here. Aaron Rodgers, 25 of 39. His quarterback rate was a 96.3. He got sacked 2 times. He had 2 touchdown passes. Okay. But let's see, Aaron Jones, what we got? He was 13 carries for 63 yards. A.J. Dillon, 6 for 34. Okay. But, Saquon was 13 for 70. Breida was in there 4 for 14. Gary Brightwell, 2 carries for 5. He had the 1 touchdown. Bellinger had a touchdown run on that crazy play. Barkley had the touchdown run. So we had the 3 touchdown runs, and good old McEnroe connected on 2 field goals, right? And the only points that the Packers scored was when the Scottish Hammer Gillian ran out of the end zone, obviously just to kill time. Got the ball, ran to the side of the end zone, and, tried to kill as much time off the clock as he could, which he did. So that was the design play there. And of course, the receivings, Darius Slayton, 6 receptions for 79 yards. Barkley with 3 receptions. Marcus Johnson with 3. Daniel Bellinger had 2. Richie James with 2. Matt Breida with 2. David Sills with 2. Chris Myrick with 1. As I said, you take these guys, put these receivers on any other team, okay? Right, take away all their best receivers and give them these guys and see if they win football games. Good luck. Right? I said that, they had Cobb, Lazard, Daubs, Tanyan, right? I mean, he had a full complement of receivers, right? Couldn't get it done. Couldn't get it done at all, right? Then we have on defense here. Julian Love had 7 tackles. We had 5 tackles for loss. We had 7 passes defensed. Very impressive. Quarterback hits, we had 6. Okay, we had 2 sacks. All right. Very, very impressive. Adoree Jackson had 6. Jalen Smith, another good, solid game. He had 6 tackles. I'm not sure how many plays they had. I'll find that out tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going to do probably the team and player grades from PFF, and I'll break down, see how many snaps each guy got. But I mean, last week, Jalen Smith, I think he had 7 tackles, but he played like half the game. So if he played every snap, he would have had like 14 tackles. So it might be the same thing here. He had 6 tackles, might have played half the game. Okay. What do we got? Dexter Lawrence had 5 tackles. He had a sack, tackle for loss. He had a quarterback hit. Right. The X-Man got the sack there at the end. Right. He had a quarterback hit. Right. So we had 6 quarterback hits. We had 2 sacks. Right. But the big thing is the Giants got the win. I mean, absolutely amazing. Just for them to get I had my score. I did the score last night. I thought the Packers might win like 27-17, something like that or whatever. I said, man, I hope I'm wrong. I'm glad I was wrong. I just didn't know. I mean, especially when it was 17-3, I'm like, oh man, is that going to be too much for the Giants to be able to come back? I mean, but I mean, absolutely phenomenal. So now the Eagles are 5-0. The Cowboys, they're 4-1. Giants are 4-1. The Commanders, you can pretty much forget about them. I mean, they had a chance to beat the Titans. Carson Wentz throws an interception. There was like 5, 6, 7 seconds left to go in the game. So he had like time for like 2 more. I think it might have been 3rd down. He had time for 2 more plays, I think it was. But he threw a pass. Guy jumped in front of it, picked it off. Game was over. So, I mean, you pretty much, I think, forget about the Commanders. But I mean, it looks like it's going to be a dogfight here. But the Giants next week, big game, right? Coming home, okay, against the Ravens, right? So that's going to be a tough game. All right, the Giants need as much health as they possibly can. Giants got 3 more games. Okay, then we got our bye week. All right, so we let me type this in here. I think we got the Giants schedule. We got the Texans. And then the Jaguars, or am I getting them backwards? Oh, I'm sorry. The Jaguars and the Seahawks. Then we got the Texans. But then we got the bye, okay? So we got the Ravens coming to town next week. Going to be a tough game, without question. Then we got to go on road for 2, and we got to play the Jaguars and the Seahawks. Now, the Seahawks don't have a phenomenal defense, but they got Geno Smith in there, and they're scoring some points, okay? But so we got 2 games on the road against the Jaguars and Seahawks. Then we get the bye week, and man, maybe some stroke of luck, maybe we can get some guys back. All right, maybe we can get a couple of our receivers back. Maybe, who knows? Maybe somehow, maybe Odell Beckham Jr. finds his way onto the team. Wouldn't that be fantastic? I'm not sure how long it's going to be that he's going to be out for, because he's still rehabbing and all and everything. But I think what I'm hearing is like maybe the second half of the season, he might be ready. So the nice thing about that is if he does, for whatever reason, wind up trying to sign with the Giants, he's only playing so many games, right? He's not playing the whole season. So he's not going to need, or he's not going to get paid a boatload of money, because the Giants don't have a boatload of money. But the Giants could certainly use him. I mean, if he can rehab and be back get back on the Giant, man, could you see that? We got Barkley back there. We got Odell Beckham back. Whew, man, that would be fantastic. But anyway, guys, it's been 30 minutes. Anybody at all, thank you so much for spending time just listening to this, or anybody spends any time watching and replay this. Thank you so much. Giants 4-0, guys. Enjoy the living hell out of it, boy, because I tell you what, I didn't see this coming. 4-1, the New York Giants tied for second place with those Dallas Cowgirls. Well, as I said, as guys, thank you so much for watching this. I greatly appreciate it. And as always, you guys stay safe out there, and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.